come live with me and be my love. And we will all the pleasures prove, that valleys, groves, hills, and fields, woods or steepy mountain yields. And we will sit upon the rocks, seeing the shepherds feed their flocks, by shallow rivers to whose falls melodious birds sing madrigals. And I will make thee beds of roses, and 1,000 fragrant posies, a cap of flowers and a kirtle, embroidered all with leaves of myrtle. A gown made of the finest wool, which from our pretty lambs we pull. Fair lined slippers for the cold, with buckles of the purest gold. A belt of straw and ivy buds, with coral clasps and amber studs. And if these pleasures may thee move, come live with me and be my love. The shepherd's swains shall dance and sing for thy delight each May morning. If these delights thy mind may move, then live with me and be my love.
Okay, the first thing we can see here that Christopher Marlowe in his poem The Passionate Shepherd to His Love is using the word roses, flowers, okay, a lot. And we need to refer back to what we call symbolism. What is symbolism? Symbolism is the use of symbols to signify ideas and qualities, giving them symbolic meanings that are different from the literal meaning. Here, Christopher Marlowe in his poem, or in this poem, uses the roses as a symbol. Roses here are symbols of love, beauty, and desire. And I want you to pay attention to what is to desire here. This is one thing. The countryside, where flowers, trees, and the green beauty can be seen, refers is another symbol that refers is as that is used by the shepherd to symbolize a place of peace and an endless hope. Okay. For the imagery, we can see here, or we can say here, that this poem basically is full of images, and the writer is kneeling a lot or depending a lot on the use of imagery. In each line, in each stanza, nearly in each line, you can see an image. You can talk about images the writer is presenting. And mainly the writer, Christopher Marlowe, is using or heavily using such a figure of speech, an image, in order to indicate that or some that which is something that indicates or reflects the simplicity of the simplicity of the poem, because you can feel that the poem is basically easily understood. It's not that complicated. It doesn't hold any of the complicated ideas. Like for example, when we're talking about William Shakespeare, for example, Shakespeare was really presenting something like philosophical ideas, starting by raising a question about the validity of making a comparison between the his beloved and Summer, and then making a comparison between his beloved and Summer, or the one he's liking, or the one he's in a relationship with, and Summer, and then telling us that Summer is not constant, is not beautiful, okay, and then after that saying that his beloved is more beautiful and more constant, more stable, okay, and even It's not even just William Shakespeare's beloved is not only more beautiful and more constant, but he is immortal, and William Shakespeare will immortalize him in his lines of the Sonnet 18. Such complicated ideas, such complicated comparisons, and something that holds some philosophical ideas are not seen here. Okay, the poem is basically simple, pure, which is in a way or another justifies or explains the reason behind not finding a lot of symbols, a lot of metaphors. But they are not extensively used here. Unlike, for example, the Canterbury Tales, for example, or Beowulf, for example, or William Shakespeare sonnets we were talking about. Nearly in each, for William Shakespeare or Canterbury Tales, for example, nearly in each line you can find symbolism, you can find personification, you can find um, a metaphor or simile. But the writer here is compensating such a lack by using or by heavily depending on images. Okay, for example, regardless of the fact that the Christopher Marlowe didn't use a lot of figures of speech in this novel. Didn't use a lot of figures of speech, but we can find, because by the end of the day, it is what we call poetry. Okay, lines, words, verses, okay, have to exceed the literal meaning. And it is the beauty of the literary work that exceeding the literal meaning in order to generate and evoke or provoke other hidden or deeper meanings that can be contributed or delivered by phrases or by words. Like, for example, Nicholas birds sing madrigals. Like here we have a metaphor, or instead of saying birds are singing as madrigals, which would make it a simile. We are by omitting as or like, it shifts it from a simile into a metaphor, for example. Okay, another thing, the passionate shepherd or the shepherd who is in love is indicating or expressing his love to the lady that he's in love with or he's in relationship, okay, by using hyperbole, which is and the exaggeration, and here such an exaggeration can be seen here. And I will make thee beds of roses and 1,000 fragment poses. Okay, thousand, a sort of, is basically, logically speaking, we cannot say we can. It's not logical to make thousands of uh, fragment poses here. But the the speaker, who's the passionate the shepherd here, is exaggerating in order to give additional meaning, okay, and fortify the idea, which is basically his love or the love he holds to this lady. Now, let's move back to the first stanza. Come live with me and be my love, and we all the pleasure proved, and the valleys wove hills and fields, woods of steepy mountains and hills. The first stanza simply, okay, starts with "Come live with me," with a call or a quest to from the shepherd from the shepherd to his beloved or the lady he's in a relationship with to live come and live with him and to be his love in a place that is full of imagery. Okay, we have pleasure, okay, valleys, uh, groves, hills, fields, steepy mountains. Okay, steepy mountains. And I need you to pay attention to the last line here, which is steepy mountains yields. What can you see here? We can talking about personification. We can talk about personification here. What is the personification? Yields, surrenders. In order to understand this sort of personification here, we need to ask a question here. Do mountains surrender or do mountains yield or not? The yield or surrendering is a quality of living things basically. Animals can yield, animals can surrender, humans can surrender. But Christopher Marlowe here, on the tongue of the passionate shepherd, or the shepherd, is saying to his beloved that the place I'm taking you to is so beautiful, so delightful, to that extent that mountains will yield to us. That mountains will yield to us. In the second stanza too, we can see that the writer is kneeling or depending heavily on what we called the image, the imagery. Okay, and sorry, and we will sit upon the rocks, see the shepherds feed their flocks by the shallow rivers to those falls. Melodies birds sing madrigals. Okay, and here we can see images like where here sit upon rock, an image, two people sitting on rocks. Okay, watching what? Shepherds feeding their flocks. Sight. Okay, by the shallow rivers. Sight and hearing. Okay, another. And here can be the last line can be a sort of image, okay, that is basically evoking the sense of hearing, but as we see, it can also be a sort of metaphor by melodies, birds, birds sing madrigals like birds as if birds as singing as madrigals, okay. Um, and again, the basic idea here is the simplicity of the poem. It's not that complicated. Okay, the ideas are just straightforward. Okay, the instead of using a lot of figurative language, complicated idea or philosophical presentations, the writer is depending on the imagery in order to simply deliver his message. In the third stanza, the stanza here goes again and provokes another image, okay, regardless of the fact that in the second line here we said that we have something and show some sort of exaggeration that can be seen as as a type or form of the use of figurative language, but basically the most dominating and most important thing here is the image, beds of roses, okay, a cap of flowers, embroidered wools, okay. Okay, now I want you to think about the following questions. Is the woman in this poem the passionate shepherd to his love? Is the woman present? Does she have a voice? Discuss the voicing or silencing of the lady in the poem. How does the poem create a particular image of women? In order to start answering the first question, Okay. in the the short clip I presented, where you listened to the poem, it can be seen here clearly that the lady doesn't have a voice. So when we talk about the presence of the woman or the lady, so basically the lady is not present, it's not there. Okay, we are only the it is there because the shepherd is talking to her. But is the lady present in the novel, in the poem, as a one who is interacting? Okay, exchanging communication, is exchanging or making some sort of feedback to the to the speaker, or not? She's not present. Okay, so does the lady of the beloved has a voice? So no, the lady doesn't have a voice. Okay, now we can discuss further about the silencing or the voice, or is or the very basic idea that is the lady silent or silenced? In other words, is the lady by her own will silent? She choose to be uh, not to speak, or is she forced not to speak? And the difference here, in order to talk about this idea, we need to refer back to the context of the Elizabethan age. Usually, in order to answer this question, we need to provide what we call a feminist reading to the poem, where usually, when talking about the feminist analysis or the feminist reading, immediately we would say that the poet, the lady in this poem is silenced. Okay, when we want to talk about she's silenced or she's forced not to speak, so the lady at that time, or in this poem, doesn't have an idea, doesn't have, she doesn't have any viewpoint. Okay, she doesn't have anything to say, which indicates, what might indicate that he is oppressing her. He is oppressing her. This is one idea. Okay. And in case we're going to say that the lady uh, by her own will chose to be not to speak, okay, this might answer the second question, which is the particular image of women or the stereotyped image of women at that time. Women didn't have uh, the common rights to be presented and speak out at during those ages. So it might be a taboo for them to speak. Okay, we want to talk about or to think about the idea of speaking out and silencing, to extend more about that. Now imagine, and this idea with ladies, will talk about that this idea much more than men. Imagine that this shepherd is like doing everything. He's saying everything. He's choosing the places. Okay, like let's refer back to the poems here from the very early point. Come and be my love. So he is calling her to come to him, and he's not going to her. Okay, so is this true love or not? Or is this the way, it might be the way during the Elizabethan age love was processed, or the interaction of lovers used to go to be that men go well, ladies come to women, or to men, sorry. But this wouldn't be consistent if we in consistency with the context that the lady is silenced. Okay, pay attention to the first line. Come live with me and be my love. Okay, come live with me and be my love. Is he making a choice for her or not? He's not the writer, oh, sorry, the speaker is not making any choices. It's not like proposing, would you like to come with me and be my love? No, no, no. There's no choices. If he says like, would you like to come with me and be my love? Okay, so the lady can accept or reject. But here, come live with me and be my love. Okay, in another way or another understanding or reading for the poem, it can be like some sort of an imperative. Come, come, come with me and be my love. Come with me and then be my love. So the most important thing or the very basic idea here is following him, coming with him, and after that she will be my love. Come with me and be my love, which must in a way or another reflect or mirror what some kind of oppression. Okay, so this something that might indicate or support the basic idea we were talking about, which is the forced silencing. The lady is silenced. Okay, she didn't voluntarily choose not to speak. And after that, look at the images. The shepherd is choosing the places, okay, regardless of the beauty of the images. I don't argue about that. Valleys, hills, fields, okay, bulls, okay. Then he started to talk about the birds, okay, and then the shepherd started to talk about he is going to make for her things, a gown that made of wool, okay, a cap of flowers, okay, like mainly most of the action is taken by the shepherd, okay, and towards his beloved, towards the lady. Now, I need you to question an idea here. He is the shepherd is making all of this, those beautiful things, choosing the place, making gowns, making listening to the birds, making a cup of flower to his beloved. But the question here, does the poem indicate any response or reflect any response by the lady or not? The poem doesn't reflect any of this thing. The poem doesn't reflect any or doesn't project any response. Okay, which raises another question. Did the lady like the things the shepherd presented for her or not? This would be another question, would take us to another levels of discussion. Okay, did she like what the shepherd is presenting for her or not? We don't know. Okay, we do not, literally, we do not know. We don't know. Supposingly, an ideal answer would be that the lady liked the 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 the, the things the shepherd is presenting for her. But this is an ideal. This is in the ideal world. Okay, but do you think, or do you think that all ladies in the world like the beauty of nature? Okay, like to live in the countryside? Don't we have ladies, people who like the life of the city, the crowd of the city, the noise of the city? Okay, one thing. Another thing, wouldn't it be difficult to live in the country? Which is easier, to live in the country or in the city? In the country, usually you're supposed to do most of the work, okay? But there, you would hardly find something ready-made. For example, if you want to, if you supposingly with the lady didn't, a very simple and basic idea. Supposingly that the lady didn't cook dinner or lunch for her family. For example, would it be in a countryside? Would it be so easy for her just to go to any fast food restaurant and buy something, or ask her husband when coming home, just buy for us some food? It wouldn't be that easy. So Life in the countryside wouldn't be that easy. It poses or holds or puts additional responsibilities on the shoulders of ladies or women. Okay, so ladies might not all of the ladies might like to the life of the countryside. They might like visiting the countryside, spending some time there to enjoy their life, okay, to enjoy like as a break from the pressure of the everyday life. For example, they can, I don't know, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, okay, as a vacation to enjoy the beauty of nature. But they wouldn't, some ladies wouldn't like this idea. So again, the very basic point of discussion, the very early point of discussion, do we know, or does the poet indicate anything or reflect any idea about the lady, whether she liked or didn't, whether she liked or not the things that he's presenting here? We don't know. So this may take us to a conclusion that the shepherd is basically dominating her. Okay, he's giving he's providing her with things that he himself likes. So he assumes as long as the things that for him as a man are beautiful, so he assumes that I like this thing. So as a result of that, she is supposed to like such things. Did he consult her? No. Did he ask her? No. Did he wait for her opinion? No. Okay. Now, I want you to think about another idea here. Do usually shepherds have the luxury of time to contemplate and think about such things of love or some things like that? Okay, logically speaking, shepherds usually work. Most of their work might be in the medieval age. It might be in the countryside. But do they have the luxury of time to have this deep contemplation? Uh, I mean, in the elements of nature, and to think about the love and beloved and what are the things that he's going to do for her. Is that shepherd really doing his work properly? Instead of looking for his faults and caring for his faults, he is what? He is thinking about his beloved. And instead of looking after his sheeps, okay, he is looking towards other uh, shepherds' sheeps. Here, seeing the shepherds feed their folks. Okay, it's good to enjoy life, but would enjoying life be the only thing? Would enjoying life be the only source of happiness? Is the shepherd doing his job properly or not? Okay, if we suppose that the shepherd is doing his job properly, is he going to afford the things that he's promising her or not? Okay, this take us to a conclusion that basically the lady is absented, is silenced, and it projects a stereotyped image of ladies, women at that time, where they are supposed to just be followers of the male dominated society at that time. Thank you. And for those questions, the last questions, we can go further in further discussion during our Zoom meeting. Thank you and see you.